Don't be so serious. We in a landmine of opportunity. Everywhere you look, there's opportunity. It's the greatest era of the modern era. All knowledge, the skills, the tricks, the access is all present. It's a beautiful thing when you really think about it. And if you can really come to grips with it, you begin to understand that this is a beautiful stage. And within that stage, it's time for you to create. It's time to create. Become the creator. If you're drawn to this channel, you probably have a similar pathology as me. A pure-hearted seeker that truly wanted the airy-fairy nature of life to be real. And if you're like me, you kind of found out that once you open Pandora's box, you find monsters. Even them fairies that we talk about, they might mess around and eat your face. It's not as light. It gets heavy, it gets dense. The deeper you get into it, the denser and denser it becomes. But that's cool, because once you get to the bottom, you're gonna have a choice. Drown or become light enough that you can float back up to the top. It ain't gonna be easy though. It's gonna be a whole lot of conditioning, a whole lot of reprogramming that's gonna need to be done. From a cellular level to the level of thought forms, energetically, everything. You're gonna have to terraform yourself from what you are to get something completely new. Is it possible that you can do this without the transformation? Not if you get deep enough. If you go to the bottom, and you get to the bottom of this, the only way you're gonna get back up is you have to transform from the bottom. You can't get back to the top and then be like, oh, I got the money, now I can make my transformation. Nah, it don't work like that. From the bottom, you're gonna have to transform from the bottom. I don't know if you remember in, what was it, Creed 2? I believe it was the one where Creed had to fight Drago's son. After he got tore up in the first fight, you know, he thought it was all sweet. You know, he was on that light stuff. He was on that airy-fairy stuff. I'm an icon living on that airy-fairy stuff coming out to some Jaden Smith. Like, come on now. Like, you about to fight a title fight with a monster. And the energy that you coming with is Jaden Smith, G. He thought it was sweet. Came out like an airy-fairy. Damn near got body bagged on that. So Rocky was talking to him like, yo, listen, I told you this is why I want you to do it. Because my man come from pain. You don't understand the difference. That man been to the bottom of the abyss. You don't understand the darkness, my nigga. You don't understand what it's like to be at the bottom and have to build yourself up, G. That's why Rocky ain't want to fight. But eventually, after he seen him get body bagged damn near, and he looked at him, he understood like, yo, he got the heart and the spirit of a fighter. He's trying to avenge his pops. The pops is in the underworld, Osiris, Hebrew. So what you gotta do? You know what he did? Rocky said, all right, G, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna have to take you to the abyss, to the middle of the desert, where everybody that lost everything, we're gonna take you to the bottom. You're gonna have to go there and go wrestle with the monsters. You go deep enough in the ocean, you find the dragons, you find the kraken. You understand? You find the monsters down there. Don't think that dinosaurs still don't exist. They do. They just this deep. They exist so deep in the abyss that most people don't never get down there to find out. If they do, they ain't gonna make it back up. Cause you gotta be light as a feather at your heart level. It is not often that a person as light as a feather can find themselves so deep in the trenches. It's a paradox. That's why it creates the wild card. Joker is wild, G. That's why it creates this, because it's not something that you have to have the qualities combined with the mentality, combined with the curiosity to actually even begin to trek this path. So after he went down there, it's almost like he destiny swapped with Drago, because Drago became the hero. Everything was glitz and glamour. He became the Drayton Smith and everything was all cutesy. You know, Drago's pop was happy that he was back hanging with the yuppies. The bourgeoisie yuppies. And he was just happy and grinning from ear to ear. And it threw the Drago son off a little bit, because he like, yo, like, they abandoned us, dog. Like, I ain't used to this. You know what I'm saying? And he got soft. And Creed got hard. I'm using this example to show you that Creed couldn't build himself up from the top. He had to build himself up from the bottom in order to take that fight. Because after you build yourself up from the bottom, you have to go fight. You have to become a warrior now. Now you gotta fight for your title back. You gotta fight for your position. You build yourself up from nothing. And then from that place, that's when you begin your ascent. And once you get back to the top, that's when you have to actually use the qualities. The person you become, that's when it's needed. It's needed for when you get back to the top of the ocean and now you want to build. How many of y'all can make it back to the top? Fortunately for everybody else, everybody that's on this journey, on this path, you're looking at somebody that did it. Well, we're listening to them at least. And if you listen to these videos, these memos, in those crunch time moments when you really need this, it's gonna help you continue your fight. It's the wild card.